you give me a bit of an audio tour of what Molossia, what someone might expect when they visit Molossia?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, like any country, you're going to start with customs, and that's right there at the border with the U.S. And we usually stamp passports there, and I conduct all tours of the country myself personally, and so I will actually stamp everyone's passport that comes through, and then remind them of a few of our laws and things you can't bring into the country and so forth. And then we take a walk
Like
through the
what?
nation.
Wait, like
Oh,
I'm curious. Like what?
well, you can't bring in onions or spinach because I'm the president and I don't like them, so I banned those. No incandescent light bulbs or plastic shopping bags; those are bad for the environment. Let's see what else. No catfish. Catfish are banned, even though we don't have catfish in Molossia. They are banned because Molossia was going to be in a magazine called FHM a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago, but they bumped that article about Molossia in favor of one about guys that catch catfish with their hands. It's called noodling. It's a big thing
Oh,
now.
what?
Yes, that's a thing. And so when they did that, we banned catfish, and then of course right after that, in a case of karma, FHM magazine went under, and probably because they bumped our article. They should have stayed the course at any rate. And then
Yeah, who was doing editing there and was like, oh, you know what? Let's bump the micronation for catfish. Yeah, no, they
that's
deserve to go under. But
oh
okay,
yeah,
so we're in
absolutely.
customs. Is there anything
Yeah.
else, or are we moving through?
We're moving on through. We're going to talk a little bit more about. I have a whole I guess, entry area with various photos and things that I will point out, stuff that you might not necessarily see. I mean, the tour, explaining what the flag is, our flag of blue, white, and green stripes, and what that means. And then we'll walk on from there. We have our own phone system here in the Republic of Molossia, and they're actually crank phones, and they're connected throughout the entire country, and so tourists have a great time testing those out and seeing, because the idea is that even though we like to laugh and have a good time here in Molossia, we do consider ourselves to be a functioning sovereign nation, and so we like things to work in our country, and that's why we have our own working phone system. We have solar power for all the lights in Red Square, which is sort of like the heart of the nation, and so on and so forth. We want things to function in Molossia. And then from there, what we'll do is go over. We have a poll, like a direction poll, like the one you see in MASH, the TV show, and that's to all the other micronations that have physical territory that you could actually visit if you're, really really dedicated and have a lot of time and money. And we talk a little bit about our population, which we've already talked about now. And then we go on into Red Square, which is, like I said, sort of the heart of where everything's at in our nation. That's where the Molossia Post Office is, my office is, Bank of Molossia. That's We'll talk about our money here in a second. That always comes up. And we have our own bar and grill, the Tiki Hut Bar and Grill. And then we also have a little shop, the Molossia Trading Post, where you can buy souvenirs at the end of the tour. And after
I
that, we'll
imagine
walk
that's
all
the
through it to come.
heart of the economy.
Yeah, it pretty much is. We have a tourist economy in Molossia. There's no such thing really as a rich micronationalist. It's not one of those. You don't make a lot of money having your own country. I mean, maybe we're just doing it wrong. Some folks do, but micronationalists don't. So, anyway, so after you're done with that, we walk. We have a thing called the Tower of the Winds, which is our big original tourist attraction. Take a big group photo of all of our tourists, our visitors there at that. Visit the Molossia Jail, which is where you go if you bring walruses or catfish or onions or spinach or light bulbs into the country, and also the salt mine,
Well,
which
hold
is
on.
where
I
you
don't.
go
I
after the
don't
jail.
think you. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think you mentioned walruses when we were at the entry point. Why can't I bring a walrus?
Well, first off, they're rather large. Have you seen them? They're really big. No, actually, we were going to be. No, I'm sorry. Back up. We like banning things that are unusual in Molossia. Doing a lot of things that are unusual. Um, And so years ago, there was a cartoon strip called Bloom County, and every Sunday in Bloom County, they would all hang out this place called the Meadow, and they would have weird different signs. And one time it said, "No walruses," and so my number three son and he was my advisor at that time. And he thought that'd be pretty funny, so let's go ahead and add that uh, to the list of things that we are going to ban here in the Republic of Molossia. So it's just something, like I said, we like doing things different. We have our own measurement system here in the Republic of Molossia.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. The basic unit of the measurement system is my hand, and it's called the Norton. Not I'm not called Norton. It's named after Emperor Norton, the Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, who ruled from San Francisco back in the 1860s and 1870s. And because we consider him to be the first micronationalist, the first guy to declare himself to be in charge of a country that nobody else thinks he's in charge of, uh, we, we have a lot of things here in Molossia named after him, including the aforementioned, measurement system. And let's see what else. We have our own time zone here in Molossia. Our time zone is Molossian Standard Time, which is 39 minutes ahead of Pacific Time or 21 minutes behind Mountain Time, I guess, depending on which way you're facing. And we, again, try to do things that are different and unusual, so it's kind of fun to have our own time zone. Let's see, where were we? Oh,
I
yeah,
know you also you speak Esperanto, right? Isn't that the
right.
language?
Yeah, that's our second language here in Molossia, absolutely. And our money is called the Valora, which means valuable in Esperanto. So, and the Valora is actually based not on silver or gold or platinum or something like that. It's actually based on chocolate chip cookie dough. And we are on the cookie dough standard here in the Republic of Molossia. Or as the First Lady likes to say, we're rolling in the dough.
How do you how do you weigh that out? How much cookie dough is worth? How do you know what it's worth?
A standard size tube of cookie dough, which is about yay big. I don't remember how many ounces it is because I can't keep track of that ounces and so forth thing. But the standard size tube of cookie dough costs about 5 Valora, and so that's how we sort of base it. I think right now um, the Valora is worth about 80 U.S. cents or thereabouts. Maybe not. Prices of food have gone up, so it uh, might be more like 85 or 90 U.S. cents. Anyway, somewhere right around in there.
Wait, so U.S. inflation is good for your dollar?
Yeah, it's making our Valora be more valuable. so, so I'm
Do
glad it's
you
benefiting somebody, huh?
Yeah, I'm curious. Does it possibly get affected by shrinkflation? Then I don't know if cookie dough would be one of the affected products, but that's
That's one
when
of the cool
for the
things about cookie
viewers.
dough. Everybody loves it all the time. It never loses its value. I mean, who doesn't like cookies? Well, weirdos maybe, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah, for the viewers, shrinkflation is when companies make things smaller but keep them the same price. So
oh
I don't
yeah.
know if cookie dough is affected by that, but I would be curious if that ever
I don't
happened to you.
I don't think so. I think the standard size tube of cookie dough is like what is it, like 32 ounces or something like that. I mean, and that's what we base our money on. So I think it's stayed the same size the cookie dough has, but the price has gone up. So that means that the value of our Valora has gone up.
Well, that I mean, I'm glad that's worked out in your favor.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Probably the only country that has.
Let me ask then, because it seems like you've built this very rich culture and
Right.
all the buildings, all these things that make up the country. Um, how old is your country, and what inspired it? You mentioned an emperor earlier. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Now, Emperor Norton was actually a real guy that lived, not saying our nation is not real, of course, is actually a real guy who lived in San Francisco and declared himself to be the Emperor of the U.S. We just consider him to be an inspiration because he was kind of like the first person to ever do that. I mean, the U.S. was his micronation, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but anyway. No, Molossia was originally founded on 26 May of 1977, so I think we are now 47 years old, something like that. Back then, it was called the Grand Republic of Volstein. That was the original name of the country. My friend James and I, we saw this old movie called The Mouse That Roared with Peter Sellers. It's from 1960, and we were really, but that wasn't that long ago in 1977. Anyway, so we were really struck by the imagination and creativity of that movie, which is about a tiny European country that invades the U.S. planning on losing a war with the U.S., because that usually benefits countries that you lose wars with the U.S. Instead, they actually capture a very powerful little tiny atomic bomb and become the most powerful country on Earth. And we thought that was just like a clever idea. And so we were inspired to start our own country. And that was Molossia back then. James moved on to other things, but I stayed with the idea of having my own country. And when I obtained property here in Northern Nevada in 1998, this became the home to Molossia, as it was renamed. And we've been going strong ever since.
Well, going back to its founding, what were you doing before that? Were you maybe
Well,
the ruler of a province or a governor somewhere?
no, there was
Usually, there's a
no,
stepping stone.
not really. There was no real nation. I mean, I had already, have always had a very active imagination So I was always, designing towns and cities and so forth like that, just on paper because didn't have computers back then, and so yeah, I think it was sort of like a natural step to go ahead and start my own country, and yeah, just kind of went from there. I was only 15 too, so I mean,
Oh
it's
wow. Yeah.
not a lot of previous history when you're 15. So
Fair enough. And you said when it was founded, you had what position, and the co-founder had what
I was the
position?
prime minister, and James was the king. And I guess
Oh, okay.
technically sort of still the king, but now we're a republic. He moved on to other things, like I said, and I think he lives in Mexico now or something. But at any rate,
That's
that's
convenient.
yeah, it is very convenient.
Yeah. He
Well,
just sort of disappeared.
it has, and that's strange. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but anyway, no.
Disappeared in Mexico. That's a classic. What if he came back? Would you have a challenged rule, or would you just let him move
Well,
back onto
actually,
the land?
before he went to Mexico, we were in contact back and forth for quite a bit, and he was always fascinated because by then Molossia had achieved a certain amount of notoriety, and no, he never had a desire to come back and be the king. It wasn't really his thing. He was my friend, but it was really mostly my thing. He sort of how friends kind of go along with whatever you're into, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I don't think he was always very much into airplanes. That was his big hobby. And so I don't know what he's doing now, but we'd love to see him. That'd be fantastic. Come popping on
Yeah.
back. That'd be quite the thing.
And forgive my lack of math ability. How old is the country?
47 years.
47 years. You should get him back at the 50th. That would be
Yeah, yeah,
wild.
it's worth a try. Absolutely. I'll see. I have actually tried to find him, through that ubiquitous search engine known as Facebook, but there's a lot of Jameses out there, so it's
Yeah, that's.
kind of hard to weed through.
I guess you could always mount an expedition to Mexico.
That does not sound like a terrible idea, especially in wintertime. When it's snowy and cold here, we'll go someplace nice and warm.